Tokyo Runway, Inferno. Japan Airlines Flight 516. The new year was just 36 hours old when Tokyo's Haneda Airport became the scene of aviation's first nightmare. Japan Airlines Flight 516, seconds from touchdown, plowed into a Coast Guard relief plane that had mistakenly entered the runway. The collision created a fireball so intense it melted asphalt, yet what happened next defied all odds. While 5 Coast Guard rescuers perished instantly, all 379 passengers escaped the burning Airbus, many crawling through toxic smoke as cabin materials meant to resist fire instead released deadly cyanide gas. Investigators would later discover the runway warning system had been disabled after numerous false alarms and the Coast Guard captain's final radio call.
"But Tower, we were cleared,"
echoed hauntingly through the subsequent inquiry. This tragedy exposed how even the world's most advanced airports could fall victim to a single misunderstood phrase. Siberia's Christmas Massacre. Aeroflot Flight 8243. On Christmas morning 2024, a routine domestic flight became an international incident when Russian air defenses mistook a passenger jet for an enemy drone. The missile strike at 28,000 feet tore open the Embraer's fuselage like tin foil, yet the wounded aircraft remained airborne through sheer pilot determination. For 17 agonizing minutes, the crew fought failing systems to steer the crippled plane away from populated areas. Their final words captured by the cockpit recorder.
"Tell them we tried."
The wreckage in a Kazakh field revealed a gruesome truth. Some passengers had survived the initial strike only to freeze to death at altitude. This catastrophe forced global reckoning with the dangers of flying near conflict zones, where advanced weapon systems couldn't distinguish between friend and foe. Nepal's Mountain Tomb. Yeti Airlines Flight 691. The Himalayas have claimed many aircraft, but none as tragically as Flight 691 in July 2024. Overloaded with unsecured aircraft parts and battling treacherous winds, the CRJ-200 banked violently seconds after takeoff from Pokhara. Eyewitnesses described the plane cartwheeling down the mountainside before vanishing into the gorge below. Rescue teams rappelling to the site found only one survivor, the captain still strapped into his seat but pinned beneath the body of his co-pilot, whose hands remained locked on the controls. The investigation uncovered falsified maintenance logs and cargo that shifted like liquid during flight, proving this was no accident of weather, but of criminal negligence. Local villagers still leave flowers at the crash site, where pieces of fuselage remain tangled in the rhododendron trees. Brazil's frozen coffin. Azul Airlines Flight 2283 August winter storms over São Paulo set the stage for one of aviation's most chilling lessons. As Flight 2283 entered thick clouds, ice accumulated on its wings with terrifying speed. Not the rough kind pilots trained for, but glass-smooth black ice that rendered controls useless. The cockpit recorder captured the crew's desperate attempts to regain lift as the plane began its death spiral.
"Holy mother of..."
Before impact at 400 miles per hour. Recovery teams needed 3 days to locate the black boxes, buried deeper than the victims themselves. Among the dead were 6 cancer specialists traveling to a pediatric conference, their research notes found perfectly preserved in fireproof bags. A cruel irony that underscored how advanced safety measures meant nothing against nature's raw power. Baltic Mystery. Swift Air. Cargo Flight 117. November's darkness swallowed Flight 117 whole over Lithuanian airspace. What began as routine system failures, first the flaps, then the rudder, cascaded into total control loss. Security cameras in a Vilnius suburb captured the Boeing 737's final moments. Wings wobbling violently before it banked straight into the ground near a shopping mall. The cargo of lithium batteries ignited fires that burned for days, complicating recovery efforts. Most haunting was the crew's calm professionalism right until impact. No screams, just methodical checklist attempts as their altitude unwound. The investigation revealed this was the third 737 freighter in 18 months to suffer identical hydraulic failures. Yet no airline had grounded their fleets. Sometimes the most terrifying crashes aren't those that make headlines, but those the industry tries to forget. Seoul's bird strike horror. Jeju Air Flight 972. The year's final tragedy unfolded with cruel slowness over South Korea's Muon Airport. Flight 972, moments from landing, ingested a flock of Baikal teal ducks into both engines. Passengers described the eerie silence as thrust vanished. No explosion, just wind rushing past windows. The pilot's desperate attempt at a flaps-up belly landing saw the 737 skid off the runway at 180 knots, shearing through concrete barriers. Rescue teams arrived to find the forward cabin compressed to half its height. Yet miraculously, 2 flight attendants in the intact tail section survived. The crash exposed how even advanced jets remain vulnerable to nature's simplest creatures, and how airport bird control measures had been cut by 40% the previous year to save costs. Alaska's vanished. Everts Air Flight 128. Some crashes leave questions instead of wreckage. Flight 128, carrying 54 miners across the Alaskan wilderness, simply disappeared from radar on a clear March night. The largest search in state history found just 2 clues: a child's life vest, never inflated, and a maintenance log showing the emergency locator had been faulty for years. Inuit trackers later reported metal rain sounds near Point Hope, but no debris was ever recovered. The NTSB's final report ran 1,200 pages, yet concluded with 3 haunting words: cause undetermined. Families still gather each year at an Anchorage park, where a memorial lists names without graves, their loved ones somewhere in the vastness that makes Alaska both beautiful and terrifying. In aviation's darkest corners, some mysteries refuse to be solved. Epilogue. The cost of safety. These 7 crashes took 304 lives but saved countless others through hard-won lessons. New runway collision systems now use AI to override human error. Missile detection tech has been mandated for conflict zone flights. De-icing procedures were completely rewritten. As investigators often say, aviation safety is written in blood. Each tragedy a brutal but effective teacher. The question lingers: in our rush to make flying ever more efficient, have we forgotten that true safety can't be rushed? The skies of 2024 answered with terrible clarity.